not expect to grow an oak tree without planting a seed, tendering that seed, making mistakes in the care of that seed, and most importantly, being patient. An oak tree doesn't grow overnight. One of the world's most robust trees doesn't become such a robust tree in just 24 hours. An oak tree is considered a cosmic storehouse of wisdom, embodied in its towering strength that doesn't come overnight. So says the internet. And neither do you personally, neither do you professionally. Now, whether we're talking about a business, whether we're talking about a marketing promotion, whether we're talking about your own Facebook Live show, you have to start. You have to be consistent. You have to be open to change. You have to be in the right environment, and you have to be patient. You have to embrace eventually. Welcome to JTInTheRaw, where I chew the thin on business and do my very best to help you think and do different. And if you do think I help you think and do different, hit me with some love hearts. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Lisa, Eugene, Elisa. Looks like Leanne's there. Carol's there over in the wild, wild west of Western Australia. We've got Jess who works for us at Active Management. Good morning. Hello, everybody. And yes, it is show 100. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? The question of the day. The question of the day, and you know this is, if you're a regular watcher, this comes up a lot. The question of the day is this, whether you're watching live or on replay, in the comments, how many shows have you watched? Out of the 100 shows, just put a guess in the comments below. How many do you reckon you've actually watched over that 100? Either live or on replay. How many do you think you've watched? Pop it in the comments below. Love to know. Love to know. Now, Susan McGregor, you've clocked up 100. Andrew's on 12. Awesome. Susan joins me in the 100 club. A few stats from JTInTheRaw. First show, June 2016, the Friday before the Gold Coast Marathon, which was my first ever marathon. And I actually committed Nick Kirk. Good morning, Nick. How are you? Elisa's watched 100 of them as well. Eugene's watched 98. Whoa, you guys rock. You see, when I first started this, I committed to doing 12 weeks. I said I would just do 12 weeks, see if you guys liked it, see if you got value from it. And, well, I kept going and kept going and kept going. And, yep, today we hold our bat up to the crowd. Terry Woodward, good morning. How are you, Terry? We hold our back to the crowd and we clock up 100. Total views of JTInTheRaw in excess of 90,000. Not quite 100, but in excess of 90,000. The most viewed show was a show 42. If you missed show 42, put 42 in the comments below. I won't get that confused with how many shows you've watched. Show 42, and that's where I had a rant about personal trainers selling multi-level marketing to their clients. That was the most watched show. The most expletives in one show was show 59. I think I dropped about 20 F-bombs in that show. In fact, it was probably more than that. What appears to be the most watched shows are the ones where I have a rant about customer service. Interesting. And the locations for JTInTheRaw have varied. We've been to Times Square, New York City. We've been the edge of Lake Placid. We've been inside a Dallas Cowboys store at Dallas Airport. Been a cafe in Manchester. I've been in car parks, in a dozen gyms. I've done JTInTheRaw minutes before going on stage at a couple of conferences. I've done it in a park, and I've done it in my office. So pretty much everywhere. Morning, Rick Mayo over there in the United States. How are you, Rick? Matty Fletcher, thanks for coming on and being an implementer this week. Now, I'd suggest that this is possibly the most consistent Facebook Live show in the fitness industry, if not small business on the planet. And if it's not the most consistent show, tell me in the comments below. I want to know, is there another show that has done 100 and every single week for 2 years? I want to know. Remember, the question of the day, Debbie Jones, Rick Mayo, question of the day is this: how many JTInTheRaws have you watched either live or on replay? Good morning, Marty. Marty, great to spend some time with you yesterday. Marty and I caught up for coffee with JT down here in Melbourne. What else can I tell you about JTInTheRaw? I have gained 4 active management members as a direct result of the shows. I picked up a couple of coaching clients from the shows and 1 corporate speaking gig. Thanks, Susan, for getting me to come and work with your Nestle team. But I have had hundreds, if not thousands, of people say that they have seen me in the raw, which is really quite a strange thing to say, but I appreciate that compliment. So I guess I'm super disappointed in the conversion of JTInTheRaw into sales, the conversion of what I do every Friday that leads into sales or leads into income producing. But in reality, I very rarely do a call to action. In reality, I very rarely do a specific call to action to sell something. The only call to action that is most consistent over the 100 shows is, will you share the show? So, for the most consistent sharer, she's on this morning, it's Susan McGregor. Susan, you share the show more than anybody else, and for that, I'm very, very grateful. Thank you. I can't put in words how grateful I am for you sharing the show. So thank you. And I hope today's show, you guys will all share, because, you know, the show has changed and it's morphed. And when I started, I really had no idea really what I was doing. And some would say I still don't know what I'm doing. In fact, when I first started the show, the very first show, I had 4 live viewers, only 4. And now by the end of this show, somewhere between 80 and 100 live viewers will be on this morning, will have swung by and watched some part or all of today's show. And that's what today is all about. I guess I want to share with you how to make your business, your department, your career, your sporting team, your relationships, your kids, even your damn Instagram account. I want to make it an oak tree for you. I want to make it a pillar of strength. And I got five suggestions for you from my experiences of doing 100 JTInTheRaw shows. 5 that I'm going to share with you. They're going to be consistency, care and tender, is it the right environment, open to change, and embrace eventually. Those 5 again for you. Consistency, care and tender, is it the right environment, open to change, and embrace eventually. I'm going to go through each one of those. Good morning, Peter. I'll see you shortly. Shane Casey, I get to spend the time with you next week, and we are talking on Monday. Ryan, g'day to you over there in New Zealand. Martin, I have no idea where you are in the world, India or Germany. And good morning, Chantal from the Fitness Business Podcast. How are you this morning? Okay, here we go. Let's talk about consistency. By the way, those that are just coming on, at any stage, please put in the comments below, how many shows have you watched? How many shows have you watched out of 100? Pop that in the comments below. If it's your first one, I really want to know if it's your first one too. Okay, so let's start with number 1, consistency. I was chatting this week with a very valued colleague, someone I respect greatly, have a great relationship with, and we were speaking this week about her views on Facebook Live. Now, I was really quick to remind her, because she wasn't feeling super happy, confident, comfortable, whatever with Facebook Live, and I was quick to remind her that there have been several different time slots for her Facebook Live show. The formats have varied, and this is an inconsistency. People don't know what they're going to get. They don't know what time it's going to come. It's variations. So if you want your business to build, you want your Instagram account to grow, you want your kids to perform great, then you've got to be consistent in what you deliver. And I believe this is probably the greatest challenge, being consistent. Day in, day out. For me, 8 o'clock every Friday. You see, without consistency, you cannot gather momentum. You can't gather momentum without consistently doing the same thing. So this would be my number one tip to building a pillar of strength in whatever you are doing, is you must remain consistent. Number 2, care and tender. Care and tender. There is nothing in life or in business that we can set and forget. Too many times, we employ somebody, or we start a new system, we roll out a new marketing campaign, and so on, and just hope and pray it catches on. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't do that. Just as you would water, just as you would fertilise that little acorn seed in the soil to make it grow, you've got to do the same thing with any projects that you're working on. You can't set and forget. Morning, Katie. Jack Bury, General Manager of North Rugby Club. Good morning, Jack. Great to have you on this morning. I really believe if you want to take a startup or an idea to fruition, you got to love it. You got to care for it, and you got to tender it. You got to love it, you got to care for it, and you got to tender it. This is critical. You cannot set and forget. Every week, I don't assume all of you will just show up for JTInTheRaw. I put messages out. I post it on LinkedIn. I post it on Instagram. I post it on Facebook. I'm putting stuff out to remind you it's on. I can't just assume that you guys will show up. You can't just assume things will happen in your business. You cannot set and forget. You have to drive it. G'day, Sean Stewart. I saw the babies home, mate. How is life as a new dad? I hope it's going well for you. Okay, my third point. Is it in the right environment? Is it in the right environment? Follow this with me. You got that little acorn seed for your oak tree. It's not going to grow in sand. It just won't grow in sand. Nor will it grow in a rainforest. You see, that acorn seed will grow under the right conditions, the right environment. And for your ideas, for what you do in your business, in your department, with your sporting team, with your kids, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, or both, you've got to be in the right place to take that idea forward. You have to be in the right place to take that idea forward. Good morning, Avril Henry. How are you? Great to have you on board. You're a highly regarded speaker in Australia, and I'm very honoured that you would swing by and catch our show that we're doing. So, for example, there's no point trying to build trust with potential clients on Facebook by doing a Facebook Live, if that's your marketing strategy, when none of your clients are in fact on Facebook. There's no point playing in the space of Instagram to drive business if your clients aren't on Instagram. We have to be very conscious of being in the environment that is going to benefit our business. And I'm afraid we often don't do enough due diligence around the demographics, around the market, when we're opening a business, when we're launching an idea or starting something new. And I'm afraid we kind of get romantically attached to the idea and therefore we don't think objectively. We are destined for failure if that's the case. If you missed show 98, put 98 in the comments, because this is where I shared the beach ball concept. And the beach ball concept is very simply, you get multiple people to look at your challenge from multiple angles. They will help you determine if you're in the right environment. You become romantically attached, you lose your objectivity, you need other people to help you. Show 98 in the comments, I'll send you the link. Check out that show around the beach ball concept. Morning, Brian. Chris Stevenson, what's up, brother? Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well over there in the United States. Frosty, good morning. Thank you, sir. By the way, those that are just joining the show, the question of the day, pop in the comments below. How many shows have you watched? How many shows of JTInTheRaw have you watched? Okay, the fourth point of making this a pillar, a strength like an oak tree, is that you have to be open to change. Now, this is often said, it's often easier said than done, being open to change, but we have to be. Feedback and suggestions that we get around our projects, our ideas, what we're doing with our team, you simply can't take that personally. If you truly trust the person that's delivering that feedback, truly trust the person that's delivering that feedback, then it is coming from their heart. It's coming from their heart. And that means it's coming from a place of love. It's not a personal attack. So drop your ego, see where it's coming from. They want you to be successful. They're giving you advice. They're giving you support. They're giving you direction to help make you stronger. It is coming from a place of love. It's from their heart. And when I started Raw, you know what? I didn't even know what I was going to talk on each week, and I thought about giving business advice. I thought about giving fitness business advice. I even thought about giving life advice, and then I thought, what the fuck do I know about life? I'm not a life coach, and that's not what I want to do, but everybody else is doing it. So I stuck to my niche. I listened to what people said. I got the feedback and I went, right, I'm focusing purely on business. Yes, I might have morphed from fitness business into general business. That was a strategic decision to make, but I have stayed consistent on the message. Now that came purely from feedback. I didn't take it personally when people said, you don't know what the hell you're talking about when it comes to relationships and life. And no, I don't. But I know a little bit about business. But I knew that feedback was coming from a place of love. So I am absolutely open to change. I'm open to change in my business and in my life. I want to make these shows more engaging. So if you've got any ideas, hit me up with how do I make these shows more engaging. Because I can tell you, when I started these shows, they were not engaging. They were rubbish. They were terrible. Don't go back and watch show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And some would still say, I don't know what I'm doing. But we're rocking on. Okay, and point 5. Point 5 is this. Embrace eventually. Embrace eventually is a little motto that I have in business and in life. It might take an hour. It might take a day. It might take a week. Or it might take a lifetime to achieve what you want. But if you are patient, it will come. I have this mindset. It's an interesting mindset. And I've had to work on this, but this is my mindset. Eventually, every gym owner on the planet will be a member of Active Management. Eventually. Eventually, every fitness business owner, fitness business manager, and fitness professional will watch or listen to the Fitness Business Podcast. Every single one on the planet will either listen or watch the Fitness Business Podcast. And eventually, JTInTheRaw will make mainstream TV. Give me a love heart if you like the idea of me being on your big screen and you can watch me on a big screen instead of one of these small screens. Eventually, JTInTheRaw will be a mainstream TV show. Seriously, that's my mindset. Eventually. I have embraced eventually. But have you? Have you fucking thought about this, ladies and gentlemen? Have you seriously considered embracing eventually and realising that eventually things happen if you keep working towards that? It doesn't come overnight. And I believe embracing eventually is, with consistency, the greatest challenge for the modern business person. I believe it is the greatest challenge that we face. Change your mindset from instant gratification to embracing eventually. Play the long game. You will be amazed at how different you see things. How different you see things. No, Frosty, there'll be no F-bombs on telly. I can't do that. So yeah, you're right. Once I go mainstream, it'll be clean cut presentation. Okay, so here are my 5 suggestions to make your business, to make you, and yes, doing some really cool stuff in life. Here they are. Be consistent. Care and tender for your product. Is it the right environment? Are you open to change? And do you embrace eventually? Ladies and gents, it's time for you to get to work. It's time for you to think about this. Which one of these 5 are you going to take action on today? Scott Robertson, great to have you jumping on late in the show, but great to have you. 5. Here are the 5. I want you to put 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in the comments, whether you're watching live or on replay. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Which one of these resonate? Which one of these are you going to embrace? Is it, number 1, being consistent? Is it 2, care and tendering? Not setting and forgetting, but care and tendering for your project. Is it ensuring you are in the right environment? And if not, changing. Is it ensuring you're in the right environment? Is it number 3, open to change? Number 4, open to change. Or is it number 5, embracing eventually? Eugene is telling me he's number 5, embracing eventually. Please, ladies and gents, in the comments, I want to see it. I want to see commitment from you. Which resonates for you? 1, consistency in what you do. 2, is it care and tender? Ryan Johnson's telling me number 1, consistency. Is it 2, care and tender? Carol is 1 and 2. Is it 3, being in the right environment? 4, is it being open to change? And 5, is it embracing eventually? Debbie Jones, number 1. Alyssa, number 5. Thanks. You see, when you listen to JTInTheRaw is one thing. When you listen to JTInTheRaw is one thing. When you add comments, when you contribute, when you're involved and engaged in this show, that starts to get into your subconscious and you start doing shit. So guys, now's where the rubber hits the road. You got to start doing some stuff. Start working on that, either consistency, that care and tender, in the right environment, open to change. Susan's 1 and 4. Marty is 1 and 4 as well. And 5 is embracing eventually. Can I just tell you, by the way, as a side fact, embracing eventually was a game changer for me. Once I heard it and once I've done it, it completely changed the way I look at things in life and in business. I embrace eventually. Well, that's it. Show 100. Done. Yes, I'm going to keep going. Yes, every Friday or Thursday in the United States or the UK, I am going to keep going beyond 100. Who knows what we'll get to? So long as you guys keep showing up, so long as you guys keep giving me those love hearts, I'm going to keep sharing some insights around business to help you guys think and do different. Next week is a massive week for me. Monday I'm in Sydney. Then Monday night I'm flying to the sunny coast for the Anytime Fitness Industry Leaders Roundtable meeting on Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday night I fly across to Perth. I'm speaking in Perth on Thursday and Friday before flying home Friday ready for Saturday's netball game. So, yeah, pretty big week, which that means show 101 will be coming to you live from Fremantle in Western Australia. I will do my best to be in a very spectacular spot so you can check out what Fremantle's like, particularly those not from Australia. So that's it. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show. Thank you for sharing the show. Please, if you think you know anybody that can get absolutely anything out of this show, out of those 5 points, consistency, care and tender, is it the right environment? Are you open to change? And are you embracing eventually? If you know anybody that could get anything out of that discussion, please tag them in the comments below. I'm always grateful for when you share the show. It's how I get traction. It's how we get all our views. Thank you so much. But before I go, quote of the week. I can't believe I've done 100 of these quotes of the week. Quote of the week. It's simple. It's 2 words. Embrace eventually. Embrace eventually. Thank you guys so much for being on JTInTheRaw Show 100. You have an awesome weekend, and I will catch you on the flip side.